A single church stands at the edge of the woods, its stained glass windows glowing unnaturally bright in the storm. Inside, people pray aloud, but the prayers sound forced, rehearsed, fearful. Faith can move mountains, but in the wrong hands, it can bury people alive. This is the story of a small town, a gifted pastor, and the secret he hid behind Scripture, a secret that would destroy lives, break families, and shake an entire community to its core. Ashboro, North Carolina was a kind of town where everyone knew everyone, and everyone trusted Pastor Nathaniel Hale. He arrived 7 years earlier, calm, charming, magnetic. People said he spoke like a man who had survived hell and came back with wisdom. His sermons filled the pews. His smile comforted widows. His prayers brought addicts to tears. His voice could quiet an entire room. He was the kind of leader people didn't just respect. They followed. Pastor Hale founded youth mentorship groups, free addiction counseling, late-night prayer circles, personal deliverance sessions. His church grew from 40 members to more than 600. Locals called him a miracle worker, a gift from God, the man who listens. But that was only half the truth, because the other half was buried where no one dared to look. Her name was Emily Rhodes, 23, kind, shy, a volunteer who cleaned the church every Friday evening. She was last seen entering the church basement for a private prayer session with Pastor Hale. That was 11:17 p.m. No cameras, no witnesses, no footprints outside. Emily never walked out. Her car stayed parked outside the church for 2 days before someone reported it. When family members asked Pastor Hale if he'd seen her, he placed a gentle hand on their shoulders. Pastor Hale, she came to pray. She was troubled, but when she left, she said she needed time alone with God. No one questioned him. Not then, because in Ashboro, Pastor Hale's word was law. But Emily's disappearance was only the first crack. 3 weeks later, a teenage boy, Daniel Morton, 16, stood up during a Sunday service. His entire body trembled. He pointed to Pastor Hale and said, "Daniel, he hurt Emily, he hurt others, and he says God tells him to do it." Gasps, whispers, a mother crying somewhere in the back row. Pastor Hale didn't deny it. He didn't shout. He didn't panic. He simply walked over to Daniel and hugged him. "Pastor Hale, this young man is battling demons. We will pray for him." The congregation applauded. Daniel was escorted out. Some believed him. Most did not, because Pastor Hale could twist truth into Scripture and Scripture into obedience. That day, after church, Pastor Hale gave an interview. He smiled softly and said, "Pastor Hale, false accusations are expected when God is doing great things. The enemy wants to divide us." For weeks afterward, Daniel Morton vanished. Rumors spread. Some said he was sent to a church retreat. Some said his family moved away. But the truth? Daniel never left Ashboro. Not willingly. Enter Detective Mariah Brooks, a former Atlanta investigator recovering from burnout. She moved to Ashboro for peace. Quiet. Simplicity. She got none of that. The moment Emily's file landed on her desk, something fell off. Emily wasn't the type to vanish. She had plans. Routine. People she loved. She never shut off her phone. She never missed work. She never ran away from anything. Detective Brooks interviewed Pastor Hale. He greeted her with warm tea. "Pastor Hale, I understand you're new. Let me know if I can support you spiritually during your investigation." Detective Brooks looked him straight in the eyes. "Brooks, I'm not here for guidance. I'm here for answers." Pastor Hale smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Pastor Hale, we all are." She examined the church. Nothing unusual until she found the basement, a storage room, locked. Pastor Hale claimed it held renovation supplies. Brooks noted the lock was new, very new, the type someone installs when they want privacy or secrets. Inside, she hoped to find Emily. Instead, she found something worse. A mattress on the floor, a Bible open to verses about obedience, a small camera tucked behind a wooden beam, a single silver bracelet. Emily's bracelet. Detective Brooks presented the evidence to the church council. They folded their arms, shook their heads, refused to believe it. Council member, Pastor Hale has saved marriages. He's baptized hundreds. He counseled Daniel. He tried to help him. Brooks showed them the bracelet. Council member, Emily likely left it during a session. Brooks showed them the mattress. Council member, sometimes our pastor prays overnight. Brooks showed them the camera. Council member, for live streaming sermons. Excuse after excuse. Faith can blind even the honest. And in Ashboro, people didn't fear the truth. They feared losing the man who made them feel safe. Everything changed the night Daniel Morton's mother came to the station. She was trembling, holding a blood-stained shirt. Mrs. Morton, this is Daniel's. He came home 2 nights ago, screaming, saying Pastor Hale locked him in a room and called it purification. We thought he was having an episode, but he hasn't been home since. Detective Brooks felt her stomach drop. 2 missing people, both last seen why. Pastor Hale. 2 victims. Same pattern. The town's trust in Hale masked a much darker truth. Behind scripture was control. Behind kindness was manipulation. Behind prayer was power. And behind Pastor Nathaniel Hale was a predator. Dispatcher. Units respond. Possible abduction at 14 Willow Road. Caller claims her son was taken. Suspect believed to be static, then a chilling whisper. Pastor Nathaniel Hale. Brooks accelerates. This is the moment the entire town of Ashboro stops pretending. When Brooks arrives, Mrs. Morton is shaking uncontrollably. Her voice is broken, but her words are very clear. Mrs. Morton, he dragged Daniel out of the house, said he was returning him to purity. I tried to stop him, but he looked like someone else. Brooks walks her through the details gently, but the truth is obvious. Pastor Hale had escalated. He wasn't just manipulating. He wasn't just controlling. He was taking. The first real break came from a neighbor who witnessed the struggle. He was terrified to speak, but finally whispered, "Neighbor." He didn't talk like Hale. He sounded furious, like he was arguing with someone who wasn't there. Brooks freezes. This aligns with Daniel's earlier testimony. He hurt Emily. He hurt others. And he says God tells him to do it. The pastor's private prayer sessions weren't just abuse. They were rituals. Psychological control masked as spiritual warfare. A God complex. Growing. Detective Brooks obtains a warrant. Not easy. Half the judge's family attends Hale's church. But Emily and Daniel now form a pattern that cannot be ignored. When they enter the church at dawn, they find Hale's office locked. A nervous deacon hands over the keys reluctantly. The smell hits them first. Not rot, not blood, something sterile. Chemical. Brooks opens the desk drawers. Memory cards. A ledger filled with names and dates. Envelopes of cash. A leather-bound journal labeled Obedience. But the most disturbing? A list titled The Chosen, with check marks next to several names. Emily's name is checked. Daniel's name is circled twice. And beneath them, 2 more young women from the congregation. Missing? Not yet, but potentially next. Brooks feels a chill run down her spine. This wasn't impulsive. This was structured predation. Brooks flips open the pastor's journal. His handwriting is meticulous, organized, calm. Entry after entry describes sessions with church members. Emily resisted, but obedience requires surrender. Daniel is stubborn. Purification must continue. God tests me with their weakness. They look up to me. They should fear me too. Brooks closes the journal. Shaken. These are confessions. But worse, they are justifications. Hale had weaponized faith, turning scripture into a shield. He believed his actions weren't sins. He believed they were divine assignments. And the congregation? They believed he was a voice of God. A detective calls Brooks over. There's something wrong with the wall behind the pulpit. She notices slight grooves in the wood, a piece of molding that shouldn't be loose. They pry it open. Behind the wall, a narrow passageway. Tight, dusty, dark. Inside, A small hidden room, a chair bolted to the floor, restraints attached, a Bible open to verses about submission, and a monitor for a hidden camera. A room built for control. A room built for sessions. A room where Emily Rhodes may have spent her final moments alive. Brooks swallows hard. This isn't spiritual leadership. This is ritualistic abuse. Forensics recovers a hard drive inside the secret room. What they find is devastating. Dozens of video files, each labeled with initials. Yar, Emily Rhodes DM, Daniel Morton SK, Sarah Klein AW, Anna Winters, and more. Brooks forces herself to watch just one. Emily is tied to the bolted chair, crying, begging, trembling. Pastor Hale stands behind her, calm, cold, completely convinced he is righteous. Pastor Hale, you are resisting the path, but I will lead you. I always lead them. Brooks slams the laptop shut. This is no longer a missing persons case. This is a crime scene, a torture chamber, a pattern of serial abuse cloaked in faith. When Brooks presents the evidence at a town hall emergency meeting, chaos erupts. Half the town refuses to believe it. The tapes are fake. This is an attack on our faith. Pastor Hale is being framed. Others shake, cry, break down completely. The most heartbreaking is Mrs. Rhodes, Emily's mother. She whispers, "He told us she left to be closer to God." Another parent screams, "I trusted him with my children." Brooks stands in the center of the storm, composed but furious. She holds up the journal. "Brooks, he didn't save you. He didn't guide you. He used you, and he hurt your children." Silence. A crack finally forms. Doubt spreads. Fear grows. And the town that once worshipped Pastor Hale begins to turn away from him. Deputies rush to Hale's home to arrest him, but he is gone. The house is spotless. Clothes missing. All electronics wiped. His truck abandoned near the woods. He vanished in the night. Just like Emily. Just like Daniel. Just like the truth he buried for years. But unlike them, Hale knows exactly how to hide. Drones shot over endless North Carolina woods. Searchlights. Police dogs. Footprints washed away by rain. Narrator, dark, steady, documentary tone Pastor Nathaniel Hale spent 7 years telling his congregation that God watched every step. But when he ran, every step disappeared. He didn't leave tracks. He didn't leave witnesses. He didn't leave mistakes. In Ashboro, he left only one thing behind: fear. Detective Brooks digs into Hale's history, and what she finds is chilling. Nathaniel Hale wasn't his real name. The real Hale died 11 years ago, a small-town pastor from Georgia who passed after a long illness. The man in Ashboro, he stole that identity. Brooks orders a forensic sweep of Hale's old belongings. No fingerprints, no birth records, no family photos, no past. Every piece of Hale's identity was manufactured perfectly, except one, a hospital invoice from Augusta, Georgia, dated 10 years earlier under the name Elias Ward. Brooks freezes. That name belonged to a patient admitted for self-harm ideation, religious delusions, violent episodes, God-complex psychosis. The photograph is blurry, but unmistakably Hale. He wasn't a pastor searching for followers. He was a man searching for a pulpit. A ranger reports an abandoned building deep in the forest, miles from any road. Brooks leads a team through dense woods. They find it, an old cabin. Crosses carved into the wood. Scripture written on every wall. Food wrappers, water bottles, a cot, a lantern. Hale had been here recently. Then Brooks notices something horrifying. Scratches on the wall in uneven lines, like someone was counting days, or victims. 43 marks. He kept score. And beside them, a fresh mark, number 44. Brooks whispers, "Emily, Daniel, who else?" Forensics recovers the hidden hard drive from Hale's secret room. Its earliest files date back not just months, but 6 years. This means the abuse didn't start with Emily, or Daniel. It began long before Ashboro trusted him. Victims include SM, a 28-year-old single mother, Jail. A young man Hale counseled during addiction recovery. HW. A 15-year-old choir member. AR. A woman who thought Hale was her spiritual mentor. Most of them never reported anything. Some left the church quietly. Some moved. Some spiraled into depression. One name appears repeatedly. SK, Sarah Klein. A girl who ran away for years ago. Brooks revisits the Kleins. They break down instantly. Her mother confesses. Mrs. Klein. Pastor Hale said she was rebellious, that she brought shame to the church. We didn't want to believe she ran away, but he convinced us she did. Brooks soon discovered Sarah Klein was last seen alive, inside the church basement. A timeline emerges. The pattern is clear. Hale didn't lose control. He perfected it. Brooks listens to Hale's old sermons with a forensic linguist. Every sermon follows a pattern. Step 1. Build trust through vulnerability. Step 2. Divide the congregation into the saved and the lost. Step 3. Use obedience verses to groom. Step 4. Introduce fear. Step 5. Offer himself as the answer. The linguist points out something disturbing. Linguist, these aren't sermons. They're conditioning manuals. Brooks realizes something even worse. Hale didn't just groom individuals. He groomed an entire town. A deputy finds a torn piece of cloth snagged on a branch near the marshland behind the Wilderness Church. Dark red stains. DNA matches one victim from the tapes. Sarah Klein. Nearby, divers make a grim discovery. A buried tarp. Inside, women's clothing. A silver necklace. Rope. A broken phone. And 2 small engraved tokens with biblical verses Hale frequently quoted. This is no longer a missing person case. This is the resting place of victims. Emily Rhodes, Daniel Morton, Sarah Klein, and others buried under years of manipulation. Hale's followers become part of the investigation. Some are terrified. Some are in denial. A few are still loyal. One elderly member confesses something chilling. Church member, Pastor Hale said that if anyone questioned him, God would strike them blind. Another admits, church member, he said Emily was a sacrifice for the sins of the congregation. Brooks asks him, a sacrifice to who? The man replies without hesitation. To him, at 2:13 a.m., a trucker reports a man walking barefoot along Highway 73. The description matches Hale. Brooks rushes there, but when she arrives, he's gone. Only footprints remain. Bloody, uneven, a sign he's injured. A sign he's desperate. A sign he's close to being caught. Brooks stares down the dark highway, wind howling around her. Brooks, you're running out of places to hide. Storm clouds roll in over the marsh. Police cars parked along the tree line. Detective Brooks stands at the edge of a muddy trail, staring into untouched forest where Hale disappeared less than an hour earlier. Narrator, dark, steady for 7 years. He preached salvation, but in the end, what Nathaniel Hale truly sought wasn't faith. It was control. And the truth behind his obsession, his motive, was buried in a past he tried to erase. Detective Brooks meets with Dr. Silas Crane, a psychiatric historian. He reviews Hale's hospital file under his real name, Elias Ward. Dr. Crane, this wasn't a man of God. This was a man who believed he was God. His childhood reveals everything. A violently religious father. Punishments disguised as deliverance, days locked in prayer closets, forced confessions, isolation, psychological torment. One entry from a school counselor stands out. Elias exhibits extreme spiritual delusions, believes God speaks to him directly, shows desire to command, not to lead. Dr. Crane closes the file. Dr. Crane. He was never searching for followers. He was searching for replacements for the people who failed him. Brooks feels her stomach twist. Hale wasn't evil because of faith. He used faith to justify the evil already inside him. Back in the forest cabin, Brooks examines the scratch marks on the wall again. 43 marks. Then the latest one, number 44. The number corresponds to a name on the list in Hale's journal. Name, Anna Winters. A young woman who attended every youth group event. She hasn't been seen in 2 days. Brooks' breath quickens. This wasn't symbolic. These were victim counts. Someone else is missing. Someone still alive. Someone Hale took with him when he fled. Officers scour the woods. The rain turns everything into sludge. Footprints vanish. Tracks dissolve. Dogs catch Hale's scent, lose it, catch it again. Finally, they find it. A scrap of denim. Anna's jacket. Torn. A sign of struggle. Then a sound. A faint moan. Brooks rushes toward it. They find Anna tied to a tree, wrists bruised, eyes flooded with terror. She's alive. Barely. Through chattering teeth, she whispers, "Anna." He said one final offering, before Brooks can ask more. Another sound. Branches cracking. Heavy footsteps. He's still here. Brooks follows the sound through thick brush. Lightning flashes. And there, standing in a clearing like a figure from a nightmare, Pastor Hale, barefoot, soaked in rain, eyes wild, a Bible clutched in one hand, a hunting knife in the other. He turns slowly toward Brooks. "Pastor Hale, you cannot stop God's work." "Brooks, you're not God, Nathaniel. You're a predator." He laughs softly. "Pastor Hale, they needed to be purified. Emily, Daniel, Anna, you don't understand the burden I carry. Brooks, the only burden here is the truth catching up to you." Hale steps forward. She draws her gun. "Brooks, drop the knife." Another step. Hale raises the knife. Brooks, shouting, "Drop it now." Lightning. Thunder. Hale lunges. A single deafening shot echoes through the forest. Hale collapses into the mud, blood mixing with rain. His knife falls just inches from Brooks' boot. He looks up at her, eyes defiant to the very last breath. "Pastor Hale, you can't kill faith." He dies before finishing the sentence. Brooks lowers her gun, trembling. Justice is served, but the scars he left behind will remain for generations. The next morning, Hale's body is carried out of the woods. The town gathers in silent disbelief. Some cry, some stand frozen, some still refuse to accept the truth. But for the first time, Ashboro sees him without the mask. The tapes come out. The journal pages spread. Victims step forward. Hale's crimes stretch across 5 states. 3 churches. Dozens of lives shattered. Emily's body is found days later in the marshland. Daniel Morton returns home, broken but alive. Anna survives, though she never sets foot in a church again. And the congregation slowly begins to rebuild, not around a pastor, but around each other. A documentary crew interviews Detective Brooks months later. The reporter asks, "Reporter, what was he in your opinion?" Brooks thinks for a long moment, then answers quietly, "Brooks, a man who learned how to weaponize belief. A wolf who dressed himself in scripture. He didn't just use faith, he twisted it." Reporter, "And did you ever fear him?" A small, haunted smile. "Brooks, I didn't fear him. I feared how many people trusted him." Fade to black. Pastor Nathaniel Hale preached that faith could save the lost. But in Ashboro, faith blinded the innocent. He wasn't a holy man. He was a master manipulator, a predator who hid behind the cross. And in the end, he didn't fall to sin. He fell to justice. The town he ruled now knows one truth. Evil doesn't always come in shadows. Sometimes it stands at the pulpit,